sea of faces. You know, it takes me back to 2003 when we organized the first RT1 and there was 200 delegates present. A lovely afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and salam sejahtera. Yang Berhormat Tan Sri Bernard Dompo, Minister for Plantation Industries and Commodities, Malaysia. Mr. Nagarajan, Deputy Secretary General of the Ministry of Plantation Industries and Commodities, Malaysia. Ambassador Paul Beckers, and members of the Diplomatic Corps. Mr. Jonathan Porridge, our keynote speaker. Professor Bungaran Sari, advisor to the RSPO. Members of the media, chairs, speakers, and delegates, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. May I also take this opportunity to welcome Madam Maria del Rosario Gureda da Mesa, the former Minister of Communications and Information Technology from Colombia. On behalf of the RSPO Board and the Secretary General and the fraternity that are present here today, may I say how honored and privileged we are to have the presence of Yang Berhormat with us in this beautiful island of Borneo, and for consenting to officiate and declare open the RT9 meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come a long way since our first RT meeting held in KL in 2003. From a mere 47-member organizations who signed the Statement of Intent, we have grown to become the biggest commodity alliance in the world. However, please be not mistaken. Becoming the biggest has never been our goal. I believe it happened as an unintended consequence of our unwavering endeavor towards our pursuit of sustainable palm oil. Ladies and gentlemen, we have achieved much in the past 8 years with countless achievements, latest being 723 members from around the world, 1.1 million hectares of production area, 132 palm oil mills, 356 supply chains and facilities, and 6.85 million tons of sustainable palm products, that is CPO and palm kernel, certified to date to RSPO standard. When you compare these statistics to other commodity roundtables, I believe we can all be proud of ourselves for our determined commitments towards sustainable practices. As we participate and debate, and this we must do, on issues over the next 2.5 days, let us remind ourselves of one of our core principles, namely principle number 8, continuous improvement. That to me means, while we stand tall and be proud of ourselves, we must also acknowledge and recognize that we have a long way to go towards achieving sustainable development of the global palm oil industry. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, RSPO is still work in progress. At this RT9, we must meet new challenges and seize the opportunity to charter equitable, healthy, and socially just paths for a sustainable future of this very important commodity. Development can only be sustainable if it is equitable and serves all mankind. May I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Darrell Weber, the Secretary General, the Secretariat staff, the organizing committee, and our event organizers, Alan and Selina from GB Works, for putting this meeting together. It has been a mammoth task, and the result is an all-time record attendance. Unfortunately, this also meant that we had to turn down many last-minute requests due to logistical constraints. So the message is clear. When RT10 is announced, please register early. Let me forewarn you, fellow delegates, that the business program is going to be rather intensive over the next 2 days, with 8 plenary sessions with exactly 50 presentations. Now, together with this morning's prep cluster, we have a total of 92 speakers. Imagine the wealth and breadth of wisdom and deep science being shared. You will note that in this session, a session on inspiring and guiding smallholders, we have 8 slots for speakers and the same allocation of 90 minutes. During one of our organizing committee meetings, our Secretary General, Darrell Weber, asked the question, now, who on earth are we going to get to chair this session? Someone from the organizing committee said, we will need the good Lord. But unfortunately, the good Lord was not available, thus we had to settle for our very own Dr. Simon Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, in the run-up to RT8 in Jakarta last year, some media skeptics described RSPO as an incredibly clever public relations exercise. My answer to those critics then and now is the same. Yes, RSPO is indeed an incredible move, but an earnest effort by the global community to make palm oil the world's first sustainable and largest traded agricultural commodity. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now with great pleasure I now invite the president of RSPO, who, by the way, is the only president we have had as such, to deliver his welcome address. Mr. Jan Kees Wis, please.